Hello there everybody, and welcome to my first War Thunder video. Today we'll be taking a look at the M18 GMC, an American tank destroyer at battle rating 4.7. It's one of the most powerful vehicles at its tier, but not because of its armor. It hardly has any. There isn't a single vehicle at its tier that can't penetrate it anywhere, really. But where this tank fails in armor, it makes up for in just an insane amount of speed. 50 miles an hour on flat ground, and its gun is great at its tier with 125 millimeters of penetration. Now, today we'll be taking it out in an arcade game, so it's not going to be as hardcore as a realistic battle. Let's get into it. The M18 excels at the beginning of any match. Its high speed and maneuverability allow it to get into a point or a very offensive position right when the game starts. Right here, I'm going for the A point just so I can secure it and get myself a couple extra points. Now, A is usually a big rally point for players, so when I get to the point, I decide to look back just to see how many of my teammates are following me. And then I notice my commander's hand. It's a little screwed up. But I can see a couple enemies pretty far away, and I decide to do a little bit of a shuffle just to make sure it's a lot harder for them to hit me. And then I see somebody across the hill, so I just take a blind shot and get a hit. Now that I've captured A, I decided to move a little bit towards B, so I can perhaps help to capture that. But I am rudely interrupted by this panther who comes in and just knocks me the other way. However, he shielded me from a shot that I was gonna take, and my engine got damaged, so I decided to go back into A and take some cover for a little bit. I am once again moving towards B. I narrowly dodged a shot right there. I came very close to getting hit, but I just keep moving, never stop. My high speeds are perfect for this kind of thing. I can see on my map that there's an enemy across the river, so I go ahead and try to find him, but I'm unable to. Instead, I see a shot bounce off the building right in front of me, so I go to take out whoever fired, and it's an M4A2. I don't really account for his movement, so I miss the shot. I'm cautious about going between these two buildings because the M4 may still be there to shoot at me, so I'm still looking at him, but then I notice that that M6A1 just kinda went across the two buildings and just fine, so I decide to leave the M4 alone and follow suit. This was risky. I saw in B that there was a tiger. I didn't know which way he was facing, so he could have been looking right at me, but just didn't take the shot, so I decided to take cover between the building. Not sure what I was doing right here. I was just trying to wedge myself between the wall and the M6, I guess. At this point, I saw that a heavy tank was just around the corner of this building that I'm looking at. On my mini-map, he was marked. So I'm basically just sitting here and waiting for him to poke out, but he never does. I'm not quite sure why I decided to wedge myself even farther between the wall and the M6. I guess it was just for additional protection on both sides, but he pulls away and kind of screws it up. Now that I'm unstuck, I decide to go investigate that heavy tank that I saw around the corner. I peek around the street just to see if there's anybody across the river waiting to shoot me the moment I poke out. I peek around the corner and see that it's a tiger. Even though I can penetrate his frontal armor, it's still not worth it as he's already aiming right where I would be if I poked out. He knew I was here. But I turn around and see an easy target, a jumbo Sherman. I shoot at his weak spot, which is pretty much the thinnest armor on his entire tank, He has it very foolishly exposed right here, and it only takes 2 shots for me to put him out of his misery. I can see that my team controls most of the map on this side, so I go to see if I can pick anybody off in B, but I only see an M22. Seems like an easy target, it's really lightly armored, but my shots just over-penetrate. They don't detonate, they just go right through. I only end up killing his driver and his loader, which is quite the shame. I really wanted this easy kill. I realize that I can't kill the M22 from where I am, so I just go back to check up on the Tiger to see if he's still there. He hasn't moved, so I just sit and wait for him to make a wrong move perhaps, but he once again realizes that I was here. I guess he was waiting for me to poke out as well, but something happened. Somebody called artillery in and damaged my transmission. I felt that he wasn't going to move. I was pretty sure he wouldn't. He was pinned down by some of my teammates behind me, so I decided to repair. This was an incredibly risky play right here, as I'm very exposed on both sides. Then I started to get strafed by some planes. And then I got a bomb dropped directly on me, but I got very lucky here. My repair ended right when I needed it to, and I just reversed out of there. My gunner had been killed in that confrontation, and so I just go back into my little corner and use my crew replenishment. I didn't want to get down to 1 crew and then have to use it in a position where I'd need to run away. So this was a really good idea. Now that I can move again, I see that our team has captured B, which means that we have control over this side of the map. And I also saw earlier that that Tiger still hasn't moved or died, so I just go in behind him and take some shots at him. Now, I didn't kill his gunner with that shot, so he was still a threat, but he didn't make any move against me, so I just take another shot and kill his gunner. Then I go around to his side and, well, just blow him up. I move forward with the rest of my team, and I see that, well, that little clearing has no enemies in it, so I just turn around and see if I can find somewhere else that has enemies in it. So I look where this Panzer IV-F2 is aiming and see another M4A2. Perhaps this is the same one, but I still don't kill him. And then I look back, and there's a Panzer IV-F2 right there. So I just take the shot and get a really easy kill. I decide to poke out into the street to see if there are any other kills I can get, and see an IS-1. I decide to get out of there. I can't penetrate him, he can penetrate me. Then I see this T-34-85 that has been there for quite some time, so I cross the street in a little bit of a risky move and see if I can get a shot off on him, but he just moves back into cover. I'm playing a lot more aggressively now because I know my team will win and I just want to get as far forward as I possibly can. I decide to investigate what the Tiger is shooting at, but he kills his target, so it doesn't really matter anymore. So I decide to disengage and back up. That's when I see a shot whiz by and kill the Tiger, so I go investigate where I think that shot came from. It was an M4A3E2 that fired the shot, and he does seem to be a little bit distracted by whatever the heck he is shooting at right now. I take another shot at his weak point and kill him. I see that somebody has deployed a smoke screen, so I decide to wait for it to dissipate. I can also see on the minimap that there is a tank destroyer pushing up very far and very aggressively in the smoke. So I decided to wait, and turns out it's another M18. He doesn't even see me, so I get a free kill. I decide not to advance down the main street just in case that IS-1 may still be there, so I decide to follow this M6 that went down the riverside. I can see that he is shooting at something, so I come in and decide to help him out a little bit. I'm running into a Panther, which just so happens to be what the M6A1 was shooting at. Thankfully, he's not even looking at us, so it's kind of a free kill. Although, this guy was surprisingly hard to take out. I'm not even sure how, but that shot didn't even hit him, so at this point, I was wondering if that guy was even alive, because usually when you shoot a dead tank, it doesn't register as anything. But, one hit later, and I'm confirmed that he is a real player who's still alive. Now that the Panther is dead, I decided to move up a little bit. But, I was being a little bit more cautious. I didn't want to die the moment I pushed. I peek around the corner and spot an 8.8 centimeter flak truck. I pop out and take the shot right before his turret was able to reverse and take me out. Thankfully, I was able to kill his driver and gunner so he couldn't get away or shoot back. One more shot is enough to take him down. This was my first mistake. I saw that there was a heavy tank attacking my ally, so I moved to take him out, but he notices me first and kills me. I wasn't able to get my turret to traverse far enough. I should have been a lot more cautious and not played so aggressively at that point. I contemplated taking my M18 back out, but I decided not to use my backup for when the game is almost over, so I just respawned on my Cobra King. At this point, what I do doesn't really matter. The game's pretty much over, so I just decided to go to the waterfront and see if I can take out the enemy that killed me. At that point, the game ends, and I get first place.